any slight rough edges to this circle eventually will be the part up, which will be rubbed down flat. So it doesn't matter too much as far as I can tell, as long as you can get it as disc shaped as possible, or as round as possible. That's not too bad. So I'm going to turn that now into a half sphere. So I have now selected the largest half sphere and the largest, I don't know what you call them, dolly, or it's not a punch, but I've got the largest one there. Now the idea is to dish that into that shape, and not just with one hit. It's a case of doing it as slow as possible, otherwise it does crease. So this first part is important not to crease, otherwise the creases don't come out. Well, they do, but it's possible to split. So there's the first stage. Slight dishing, rough edges there that will eventually be able to be sanded off. Now I'll turn this over to find the next, I think it's that one, and this is still okay because there's plenty of room in there. As long as there's room for the metal to expand, you're okay. Turn it over, find the next smallest one, which is that one. So that's quite a jump now. So for that one, I think I can go, that might be a little tight, that one, so I'm going to go for one slightly less than that. Now the next one is this one, and I think that's quite a jump in size. So I know that I have to be a bit more careful because I've done this once before on that other copper bell. Now it's a case of finding the right doming tool, and I would say that one, there's a bit of clearance in there, and I'm going to try take this down a little slower because otherwise it'll get a crease from that edge in the half of the barrel. I can now feel that's getting quite hard. The brass is becoming work hardened, so I'm going to have to anneal that now and soften it up a little bit to get down onto the next stage. Just put that to cherry red and then quenched it, and hopefully that will soften that up a bit for the next day. I'll just feel if that feels a little softer. Okay, now I'm going to take it down one more. So that's smaller than the copper one that I did earlier, and that hopefully might be a nice size. And it does feel a little softer. as I'm still experimenting with this, and that is almost half a bell, but there is a little bit of, I think it's just slightly, I don't know, maybe slightly under. I'm wondering whether to take it one smaller. But next time I do this, to get that size, instead of having that disc at 22, I'm going to take it to 23mm, but I'm going to stick to this one. It might just be okay. Next stage is a bit of wet and dry, put a little bit of water on there. Early days, I'm sure I'm going to change a few things as I go. But now what I'm trying to do is get a flat surface, so I took half turn or quarter turn, quarter turn, quarter turn, trying to get a completely flat edge on that. Getting there. Right, so we've gone from that now to that, and that's sitting fairly well on there. I think that's fairly flat, so if I do another one of them now, I'll have both sides of the bell. I won't subject you to the next one, I'll just make it. As you can see on that one, I wasn't so neat on my cutting, so now all these points I've got to rub down. I can rub it down to the lowest point, but I should have took a little bit more care. I will next time. That's the two halves now, and they're fitting nice and flush, so we could get a good solder joint there. I don't think they're completely half circles. That seems more like a half circle to me. So next time I'm going to take them down one more size to see if I can bring that further apart. But so far, working in brass is a lot easier than copper. I'm going to make the hanger now. I was going to use stainless on this one, but it's in the post, so I thought I'd make a brass one. So this is all brass, but it gives me an idea of what it's like to work in brass now instead of copper. The copper was very difficult. Just taking off any rough edges. Because if I was going to use this part, if I use this bell, I probably won't use it, because I want to carry on making one as I progress to get that final bell size I want and the tone. I'm just doing this to sort of work on them skills, so as I go I'm going to find it easier and easier. So I need to make now the small loop to solder onto the top of one of these. I'll put a flat on there, and I'm going to make a flat edge on there. Put a small flat on this back side. Here we have the finished barrel now, but just short of the solder, which is going to go there and around the seam. I'm just going to go in and cut a small piece of Allen key, has the clanger inside, or the rattle. Once it's all soldered, then I'll cut the slit for the sound to escape from. I did hear 10% is a good size, or I read somewhere, or saw it on a film somewhere, something I watched about barrel making, but I think that can vary. I mean, that seems quite small to me. I don't know whether I should go a little larger than that, not sure, but it's all trial and error really. I think I'll put that one in there and see what that's like. That's quite a small barrel. I did this with the copper one, put the little slug inside. Although you can't hear the bell, it does give a little feel of something that I think should work. I can feel it moving around quite nicely, and then it feels like it's got a bit of weight to it. So I think I'll go with that on this one.